Hey everybody, Ken Abrams with another Tuesday at 10 blog. Several weeks ago, I read with interest that Amazon was going back to 5 days a week in the office. Now, to provide some context, a few years ago they had gone to a hybrid schedule requiring people to be back in the office 3 days a week, but not the full five. They've since changed their policy and they're now going back to 5 days a week in the office, I believe beginning in January 2025. The reasons that they gave were that they were starting to see some changes in the culture of the company and the fact that having people working remotely a couple days a week was providing them a lack of creativity and a lack of energy to come up with new products and new ideas. Their feeling was that by having everybody back in the office 5 days a week, it was going to create a more creative, vibrant environment and the company would continue to grow. Of course, there were some cynical employees that posted on social media that this was nothing more than Amazon letting people know that they were tired of people not potentially living up to the expectations that they had for them. That working from home, maybe people weren't working quite as hard. But according to the company, that wasn't the reason. The reason was that they were losing some of what made them a unique organization. This change was announced with some others in terms of the way that they would be meeting and getting rid of some mid-level management positions to in fact streamline the decision-making process at the company and make change easier to happen. One of the things that this did for me was to spur an idea that maybe it's something we at Fun Enterprises should discuss. Maybe we should talk about whether or not the hybrid work schedule or some of us working completely remote was in the best interest of the company. So I brought this up at a staff meeting and I told people I don't want an answer then, but to think about it for a week, write down the pros and cons of people coming back to the office 5 days a week, everybody coming back to the office 5 days a week, and what were the benefits or what was the downside of it. What the result was a very interesting discussion, and clearly people had taken the time to think about the question that I had asked because their responses were very well thought out. The decision was to keep it the way we'd been doing it since the pandemic, that there didn't really seem to be a need to change it, and in fact, changing it might have created more problems than it solved. For example, because of some new businesses that have moved into the area where we work, parking has become extremely difficult in our parking lot. And where would we put an additional 4 or 5 cars every day? The other thing that people were concerned about was the level of noise and chaos in the office by having all of us back there. As a matter of fact, some people wondered how we'd been able to do it for all those years that we had. That now, because our sales staff was fully remote, the phones rarely rang, and it allowed our staff to do the work that they needed to do to prepare for the events. So having more people in the office was not going to create better energy, it was just going to create more chaos. So like I said, we've decided to keep things the way that they are, and I for one am pretty happy about that. But I was extremely proud of our staff and the way they approached this and the fact that they clearly took time to think about it and not just provide a knee-jerk reaction. For me, it was a great exercise and it was wonderful to hear people's opinion. I look forward to another Tuesday at 10 blog next week and I'll talk to you then. In the meantime, have a great week.